writer connections, and emails that get the job done, you need to think about more than just grammar and spelling. This sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read. It undermines the writer's message, and the word choice is bland. Grammarly's cutting-edge technology helps you craft compelling, understandable writing that makes an impact on your reader. Much better. Grammarly works where you work, on your computer or your phone. Imagine what you could do with the secrets of the world's best writers at your fingertips, anytime you need them. Are you ready to give it a try? Installation is simple and free. Visit Grammarly.com today.
There we go. That's good. Oh geez, I am haphazard today. Welcome to the stream, guys. We are getting ready for a C West matchup, Periloot versus Piecemeal. We have everyone in the draft, in the screens. We're all good to go. Just gotta make sure everything is nice and set up here on my side. And we'll be ready to go. I'm almost there, guys. Just give me a second. Should be a very great matchup to start off the season. I feel both these teams are very close together when it comes down to skill. It's going to be a hard call for everyone involved. We're all ready to go on my side now. Let me bring up what we have so far. We have our 10 map pool, where we had Cursed Hollow, Sky Temple banned by Piecemeal. They were the ones that go map picks. So we got Dragonshire and Volskaya banned by Periloot. And then, of course, our first match of the day is going to be Braxis Holdout. That's going to be one hell of a ride. I love starting off the season with a spicy map, and if there's anything spicier than Braxis, I don't know what it is. So let the teams know I'm ready to go. And we'll get right into this draft. No time wasted today. All right, we've got Periloot ready to go. Now we're just waiting. Now we're just ready to go. This is an absolute shit show today. We are ready to go, starting the match. Let me know in the chat who you think is going to tank this match. Now we're just ready to go. Starting us off today, we have a Nubrak band on the side of Periloot. They don't want anything to do with that guy. He is gone. Very strong tank. Is great for initiation. There's pretty much no better initiation tank in the meta. You've got Cocoon, you've got Burrow, you've got your stuns. It's great into spell damage, which makes up a great portion of damage in the current meta. And almost really any meta. Greymane band, I think in the wake of Greymane's, they're subtle, but an auto attack buff, a speed buff, are both very good. I think Q-Build also got a bit of a buff, but I'm not entirely certain that's a major thing for people to worry about. I do still think Quicksilver Bullets is just that much better for poke overall, but if you can get Q-Build stacked early, then maybe you've got something that you can argue in its favor for sure. Phoenix being banned, he's good on this map. You can laser the wave and kind of negate any advantage from the objective, and this map kind of relies on the objective for a decent amount of finishing games. ETC going to be banned out. Another fantastic initiation tank. He's off the table, and we're going to open things up with the, I guess you could say, new and improved Imperius since yesterday's patch. It's hard to say if he's better, worse, or just different. I think time will tell. Anna coming off a bit of a slight nerf to grenade build, but some buffs to some other talents, so we might be seeing a little bit of variety on that pick, but still seeming strong enough to take first, and we're going to get a Kel'Thas. Fantastic on the waves, good at wave clear, good at poke. This map is really good at poke and wave clear. Siege is also something that's pretty nice, and his camping is not half bad, so Kel'Thas is a reasonable pickup here. And we're going to kind of see the counter mage. If you see an early Kel'Thas, you're almost definitely going to see a Gul'dan. And Gul'dan Ariel means that you have quite a bit of flex in the bottom lane. Those two together, who don't really rely on mana to sustain themselves much in lanes, can just kind of stay down there forever with hardly needing to use taps and pretty much never having to back. You need to be killing Gul'dan or Ariel in that situation. It can be very tough, so pretty strong opener by Periloot, I would say, in this particular matchup. We see Johanna being banned out, another one of the major meta tanks. And Malthael is one of those assassins that can sit in, well, I guess he's a bruiser, that sit in that top lane and make it very difficult to win. Also, on a pale horse, he's got pretty fast top to bottom rotation, so you have a good double whammy there if you get the Malthael, so they're just going to ban it out. And so Piecemeal says, you know what? Screw that. We are playing Cho'Gall. That is the first Cho'Gall of the night. We have an Ana on the Cho'Gall. Imperius isn't bad into Cho'Gall. He actually, especially with the percent damage builds, can be pretty strong. Malthael being banned out, though, kind of removed their biggest counter to it. But with the early Imperius, it's not like they were going to take anything else. So we're going to get Stitch's Hanzo. And I don't know. I think that Piecemeal might have been able to find a way to get a good draft that gives Cho'Gall a bit of an advantage. He doesn't have the biggest healer. You typically want things like Alexstrasza or even Ariel, which is kind of a good deny pick by Periloot. But at the same time, there's not a lot that's going to do great at poking down Cho'Gall without taking a ridiculous amount of damage in return. So we'll see how it goes. Blaze is going to finish it up. He's going to handle that top lane into Imperius. I'm uncertain about that matchup. Blaze has the advantage in the sense of wave clear, but he definitely doesn't want to be in anywhere near 1v1 melee range of Imperius. So it's going to be interesting to see which one comes out on top. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I am here in the game. We have, on the blue side, Argo Booster on Hanzo, Helio on Ariel, Swill on Stitches, Evilmar on Gul'dan, and Karthin playing Imperius. And on the red side, we have Piecemeal, Gambit on the Blaze, Cho and Gall are played by Dark Knight and Odd Thought, Royal Beef on the Ana, and Nemesis playing the Kel'Thas. And so we're going to see basically your standard 4-1 on both sides of the map. Not all that surprising when you're looking at Piecemeal's draft, as with Cho'Gall, you're kind of in that you're kind of stuck to that sort of setup. Whereas on the side of Piecemeal, you know, Gul'dan and Ariel can pretty hard kind of cover this lane without getting sieged into too difficult, but Hanzo and Stitches aren't exactly the best roamer and gankers in the game, so Hanzo's not too bad, but we're also going to take a look here at the top lane. While I pop up the talents, we do see Burn the Unpure. Definitely looking for that percent damage. You know, if I was Hanzo, I kind of would almost want redemption here. Very little chance you're not going to be able to get it stacked off of Cho'Gall. And if you take Giant Killer at 16, you're actually going to be able to burn down a late game Cho'Gall, which is pretty damn good. Dark Knight looking to push up a little bit into this point, but with 4 of them down here and kind of zoning them out, it's going to take a lot of poke for them to actually move this into a different position. And Cho'Gall has to tank all the damage. He is their frontliner, and in the early game in particular, he's going to eat a lot. And I just don't know if Ana has the healing to really help them stay sustained against Hanzo and Gul'dan. I do think the hat target should probably be Gul'dan, though, as his PvE up to this point is going to be just generally better. And that's where you're going to get a lot of your early game heals from. Hanzo is only going to be able to poke at it, but he's going to do little bits at most times. Tell mama. Tell mama. And given the early game is a little rough for Cho'Gall these days, it's not all that surprising to see that we will get the first channel by Periloot. And so they're just going to start pushing up here on this wall. Imperius is going to defend the top lane. It's a good thing it's not a big wave, because he would struggle a bit with that. But he is going to be able to manage to get a nice little hook coming in on Nemesis. Pulls him into range, but there's not like a ton of burst damage that's available on the side of Periloot. So getting those kills off of Stitches pulls in the early game is going to be kind of difficult. The real problem's the follow-up stun. If you had some sort of root or stun, you definitely would still have plenty of damage, enough to kill a Kel'Thas, especially on a hook. But given that really the only follow-up they're going to have is Ariel maybe getting a stun into the wall off of a hook, it's definitely possible, definitely doable, but definitely difficult. And that's going to be it for the waves. Top's already been cleared. They didn't even lose a tower. And bottom got a front wall and a bit of damage onto the bot fort, but nothing too dire. They're still, both teams still in pretty good shape. Slight experience advantage for Periloot, but nothing really to worry about. End of the phase, and we see the immediate look at on the easy camps here. Now, these camps are pretty good. They do minus 20 on structures and anything they hit with their flamethrowers, so it is a pretty good damage buff, especially with such a good pushing combination here in the bottom lane from both Hanzo and Gul'dan. I mean, Hanzo Siege isn't great, but Gul'dan Siege is. So Arquebus is going to take a really risky rotation here, and I think it's actually going to get poked out. But there's the heal from Ariel. And they are going to successfully steal the hard camp here on the side of Piecemeal. And with 7s and 2 camps, they're easily going to be able to push up on this, especially with Gul'dan and Darot. The Cho'Gall is just taking absolutely way too much damage. There's the hook onto broiled beef. The follow-up, is it there? It is not. He's just going to be able to walk out, and that's the thing. Like, the stun is theoretically cool, but it's going to be difficult to land. But really not much to worry about here, as they're still getting incredible value out of this double camp claim in the bot lane. And Imperius is successfully holding this top lane against the Blaze. In fact, not only winning or holding it, but he's actually winning it pretty hard. Things not looking great for Piecemeal at this moment. We're going to see Periloot say, well, you know, we've got map control, it looks like, so we're just going to walk up here and steal your easies. And I imagine they're just going to continue that march along and hit their hards over here. 3-man rotation is safe. I do like it. Hanzo clear is really quick, especially with his quest complete already on simple geometry. He can actually clear this pretty fast. You could leave Gul'dan in the bottom lane for the wave clear. We're going to see a bit of engagement coming out on Imperius, but he's just going to take the damage. It doesn't even take out half his health bar, and that's going to be that. So we see a 5-man commit to the top lane by Piecemeal, and Hanzo's just going to take that cue and say, you know what, this is time for me to push up. And like I said, if this was a Gul'dan, his front walls probably already be dead. But all 4 camps were claimed by Periloot. A very good rotation for them. Hanzo stitches Ariel, pushing out this lane continually, and in fact, without any response, they just don't care about whether they get the objective here or not. And Karthin's taking quite a bit of damage, but so is Cho'Gall. But overall, I think the poke is too good, especially with no healer up here. The big reason that this is going bad is the sort of half-a-man outplay. Nice stun coming onto the Hanzo, but there is no follow-up. But Broiled Beef gets pulled out of position by Stitches by a really good hook and a really good fear. Takes out the Cho'Gall. Nemesis looking to see if he can get out with his life. He barely squeezes by with 300 health. Blaze manages to stall out the objective a little bit longer. 11 is actually picked up by Periloot, where there are still no 10s for the side of Piecemeal. And this Cho'Gall composition is just not looking like it's as effective as I think Piecemeal was hoping it to be. So, heroics, we have Dragon Arrow, as we saw. We do have Gorge. I don't think that came out yet, although that might have been what brought Broiled Beef out of position, so maybe I just didn't see it. Yeah, exactly. We have Aegis, which hasn't needed to be used as the pressure hasn't been on Periloot in almost any fashion here. 54% on the channel. Cho'Gall and the rest are all up. Blaze is trying to deal with the push in the bot lane, but Stitches and Hanzo just kind of free pushing this. They're going to grab another tower. Not sure what that scatter arrow was supposed to accomplish. And in fact, now we're going to see the 5-man rotation, more or less, onto the bottom shrine to see if they can take an uneven fight on top of Stitches. He gets instead gorged. He's going to be pulled into tower range. Hanzo's going to start putting in the damage. There goes the hook onto Cho'Gall, but the counter damage coming out onto Argo Booster and Helio is actually too much. And Aegis needing to be burned there to keep Argo alive. They got to watch out for those exploding with the chain bombs. There's a 3-man Dragon Arrow into a Fear. That's going to be dead Kael'thas. Almost certainly a dead Cho'Gall. He's going to try to ult his way out of this. They do get the pull in on Stitches. Stitches is going to go down, but I'll take a Stitches for Cho'Gall trade any day of the week. And Broiled Beef now is in a bit of an issue because we are going to see a bit of the chase, and I think Hanzo has just the amount of range needed to be able to pick him off, and that's going to be it for Broiled Beef. He's going to go down, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be another 100-0 objective for the side of Piecemeal. Things not looking, or sorry, Periloot. Things not looking good for Piecemeal in this situation, as Blaze is the only one remaining alive. Now we have everyone respawning back up, and in the meantime we have Argo Booster, Evilmar, and Helio using that Gul'dan Ariel push to be able to try to see if they can snag this bottom keep. That is not going to go down. And I don't know if they're going to stay down here and just keep pushing up on it, or if they're going to make the rotation. It looks like the rotation is actually coming in, so we're going to see a 4-man commitment. Stitch is dealing with the bottom, and you know what? This is almost better than having Imperious do it, as Imperious doesn't have the wave clip that Stitches does. So it's actually a pretty good adjustment there by Periloot, making sure that they're just not giving Piecemeal anything on the map. And there goes a nice stun coming out from Ariel onto the Cho'Gall, making sure that he's taking too much damage to get a good initiation on. They're going to start clearing this out, and this does take out the fort. I don't think it's going to get much more than that. We do still have quite a bit of siege and a full 5-man rotation up here, so we're going to see what they can do. Ultralisks are gone. We've got a couple Hydralisks left and 3 Broodlords in the backline, putting some good pressure onto this wall. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure unless they get a good hook into a kill right off the bat here, we're not going to see much more of a push in this top lane. But I don't know. Cho'Gall is starting to eat some damage. There goes a nice hook into Gorge. Dragon Arrow to keep everybody separated out. Corruption plus a Fear going on to Kael'thas to make sure that there's no backup. We're going to see the pull in. And that might actually be just enough to do an absolute ridiculous amount of damage to Periloot. But they still turn around, take out Cho'Gall, take out Kael'thas, and this is kind of an even trade out. It's a 2 for 3. It's actually in favor of Periloot. But that was the best engage we've seen from Piecemeal so far. And that should stop any further aggression in this situation. Although, I say that... And we're going to see at least one more tower go down before Stitches and Imperious give up on the siege. So, overall, that was a very good round yet again for Periloot. Whereas Piecemeal is just hanging on by the skin of their teeth. One good thing they do have going for them is both keeps are still very much alive. And as long as those keeps are still standing, they still have a decent chance to get back into this game. There aren't even Talonteers. We are going to see 16 taken by Periloot very shortly here, so it'll be interesting to see if Piecemeal tries to make any cross-map aggression to try to close that gap in the levels, but it looks like they're instead just going to go and remove camps off the map and try to pick up experience that way. Blaze hiding in a bush. He's not soaking the top lane, which I think in this particular instance should be the biggest goal on the side of Piecemeal, as they are very far behind. 16s are going to be picked up here by Periloot, and that's going to be dead keep. Just even the fact, even if there wasn't a level disparity here, the fact that this much siege is sitting in the bottom lane, all 5 of them, and the rotation didn't come out fast enough from Piecemeal, that this keep's just going to go down, even without a fight. Good pull and onto the Gul'dan. We see Aegis come out to keep him alive. He's still in a terrible spot, taking an absolute ton of damage from the Kael'thas. And that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade on Kael'thas versus Gul'dan. Gambit, though, super low and gets taken out by Imperious. Cho'Gall also not in a great spot. He does dodge the hook, though, and that keeps him alive. We do see a nice stun from Helio onto the well. But Keep is gone. 2 are down for 1. And that just is another 1 team fight for Periloot. But as these team fights get later and later, it's less, flat out in Periloot's favor. So many of the initiations are coming in on the backliners getting pulled out of position. And I say that, Broiled Beef gets hit by a nice fishing hook. That's going to get him killed. Cho'Gall has no heals. He's got to burn every bit of escape that he has to get out of it. But we're going to see a stun come out on Kael'thas, and it does miss. It just barely squeaks by him. But Broiled Beef is down. Cho'Gall needs to back to get his health back. And let's keep in mind, guys, that this is actually Piecemeal's map choice. So they were really banking on this Cho'Gall being that ringer kind of composition into a team like Periloot. And so far, it just really has not paid off. The level disparity is really hurting them. The rough early game has definitely put them behind. So we're going to see a sleep onto Stitches. Then he's just going to kind of walk out with full health, and that's going to be another 100% to 0% on the objective by Periloot. We're going to see an engagement coming in here by Cho'Gall, but the wall keeps him alive just a little bit longer. The Molten doesn't allow him to be able to pop it onto the actual squishy target, so it's Broiled Beef getting picked off again, although Ariel also went down to the backline. But we're going to see the rest of the damage coming out. Gambit's going to go down. Kael'thas is going to go down, and that's going to be it Cho'Gall trying to stand here and do a little bit of damage, but I think that that's just going to be it. Again, not a clean team fight win by Periloot by any means, but considering they have the objective and it's all on the core, it's just going to be a no-brainer. This is going to be it. GG. Well played. Game number 1 going to Periloot. Now, Periloot did have a decent season in C last season, making it into playoffs, taking out their sort of nemesis, Dive Hard. Or was it the other way around? It might have been the other way around, actually. I think they might have dropped in the first round versus Dive Hard in a 2-1 series. And that was a bit of an unfortunate turn of events. So Dive Hard has now moved up into the next division. Periloot is the remainder in this division, and I think they're wanting to make sure that they get a nice, good run, and that is a great first game to kind of start it all off with. Piecemeal, new team, going for that the Cho'Gall to kind of get the ringer, try to throw them off of their game, and it sort of looked like it backfired a bit. So we'll just have to see what game number 2 ends up being like. I will pop us to a will be back screen while I set up the next game, and we'll be right back, folks. Alrighty, buddy. Welcome back. We are here for game number 2 between Periloot and Piecemeal. Game number 1 on Braxis Holdout going to Periloot in pretty convincing fashion into a Cho'Gall comp. So we're going to see if we can see the redeeming match coming out from Piecemeal on Battlefield of Trinity. This is going to be the map pick by Periloot as Piecemeal opted for first pick. So there is all the updated screens as we got it. Everyone is trying to filter into lobby now. And we'll be getting into the game here very shortly. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot my face was on screen. Yeah, so we are just getting everybody into the spot. I needed to organize some things up, but we're going to be ready to go here in just a moment. Everyone is now in, so I'm just going to let them know. So, I mean, the first game was pretty convincing. I think I'm hoping Piecemeal is more prepared on this map with something more substantial than a Cho'Gall comp. I think a lot of teams figured out kind of how to deal with Cho'Gall, and I think it was pretty well showcased in that last matchup. I mean, and that's the thing about those strats is they either work or they don't. We're seeing it from from this specific instance, it not working out just due to the map and the different kind of combinations that were available on the map. I think the top lane Imperius did a really good job into Blaze in the first 5-6 minutes of it. But in probably their own scrims or in Storm League queues, they're running that Cho'Gall and Braxis, and it's been winning them games. So you kind of got, if you got a strategy you've been working on, you want to just pop it out. I mean, and that's kind of where Cho'Gall comes in. He's really only useful on a very specific subset of maps. So he's definitely a map pick hero. Unless you can manipulate things into them likely taking the map that you want to play it on, but that's another level of strategy that kind of comes into it. And yeah, it just didn't work out this time. So reset, forget about it. We've got one more game to get the equalizer, and then the series will be right back on track. And I definitely think Piecemeal can do it. I think the specific hero matchup belied the skill matchup on both teams, and I do expect them to be a lot closer in this game. Barring perhaps another Cho'Gall pick. Now, I'm not going to say that I am by any means a Cho'Gall expert. I don't know exactly what maps you want to be taking them on. But anywhere you don't have to deal with the macro side of things as viciously is probably pretty good. So we could potentially see it again here. I do think that since his last round of nerfs, his early game has gotten kind of bad. And BOE really punishes bad early game. Like, if your timings aren't good on camps, like, from the start, if you're not at least fighting or contesting on that first immortal, sure, you can take a first immortal, but a lot of the time it still sets you back in the macro, and it makes it a little bit harder to come back. But generally, you want your team comps coming on by 10 on BOE, as the second immortal generally gets a heck of a lot more, especially depending on how many trades happen, how much shielding you get off of it, and what kind of siege that you take in your compositions with it. So it'll be interesting to see what we get on this map. We're still waiting for someone to come back. I mean, everyone is here in lobby and ready to go, except I think someone is AFK, so we're still waiting for them to pop back in. Hopefully it's not too long, because there's lots of other matches going on today that we probably want to get to. But, I mean, who are we kidding? This is going to be another 3-game series, and we've had a lot of those actually in the opening round across divisions so far. Lots of 2-1s, lots of quite a few 2-0s, but lots of 2-1s happening, and that's what you want to see, because that generally indicates good divisional balance. And for the teams that get 2-0'd, it's the early part of the season. You got lots of time to make up for it, and kind of change your game strategies, get more experience, look at other teams and how they're drafting. And if you make it into the playoffs, you'll get your chance to get revenge on a lot of those teams that beat you. So, you know, don't take early losses as a bad thing. You can look at it as saying, you know, there's something we need to learn. I'm ready to go. Periloot is ready to go. Piecemeal is ready to go. Here we go. Let's get into the draft. Oops, the wrong one. Here we go, folks. Here we go. First ban is going to be dun 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 dun. Greymane, yet again, just like on the last map, first pick Greymane on the bans. He is gone. There's no Wolfie boy. No Fuzzy Illinor is what we came up with. This is a cross between Illidan and Raynor, and he's fuzzy. Anubarak, first ban on the set of Periloot yet again. So these bans looking to be pretty much standard. They're not adapting from draft to draft. It is just flat out, we know what we want gone. We're just going to remove it. See if there's any adjustment here in the second bans. Hanzo removed. So that is a slight adjustment, as we saw Argo Booster on the Hanzo last game. I remember last season, lots of people in chat going, hey man, get Argo off of that Hanzo. Yeah, on the tournament thing, I actually was able to set it up where the points are accurate. I do know that dominations are 3. Thank you, Valkmar, for coming in and let me know about that. I'm sorry, Keladorn, I did not have the chat screen up on the top, so I actually did not see what was going on in the last bit there. Yeah, so that did remind me. You're right. Divehard did lose to Periloot. Periloot had a good run last season. It was actually quite surprising. We're going to see Artanis picked up by Piecemeal right off the bat. And, you know, Artanis did get a buff this last round. It actually might be a bigger threat, even on other maps rather than this one. So, nice to see the Artanis getting a nice first pick. I mean, he probably is in that slot now. We're going to see Johanna Chromie. Chromie, I think, has been secretly a really good pick on this map for quite a while. And since the last changes, her Q does PvE damage. So I'm thinking it's even more so the case than it once was. Raynor is very good on this. If he takes Exterminator, he also adds quite a bit to the race, almost too much to the race. With Exterminator, he probably is the best when it comes to race. And it's going to be Brawl Beef on that, which is a little bit of a shakeup from last game. We are going to see Dark Knight on the Diablo. Not much of a surprise there. He did play Cho last game. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't scroll up far enough, guys. I swear I will interact from here on out. I've got the chat up. I can see what's going on. Yeah, I think with the Q hitting monsters like onto the Immortal, like Chromie is actually very good on this map, and definitely worth a ban in some cases if you can see it coming. Li Ming has obviously been a monster on this map for a long time. Lots of angles to get good shots, not just on the Immortal, but also onto enemy heroes. And so they're just going to remove that. And Imperius was a big enough problem in the offlane for Piecemeal last game. And since they do have such a beefy front line, they're just not interested in doing it. I do think Artanis trades a little bit better into Imperius than Blaze does. But I think removing it entirely is probably the good way to go. I appreciate the biddies. Yeah, anyone feeling like dropping biddies other than the Keladorn, and I appreciate it 100% Keladorn, please do. It definitely helps support me and my family in the stream, so every little bit helps. Appreciate it. I love seeing how many people are here and involved in NGS this season, and it's just looking so fantastic. Helio going to pick up the Stukov and Varian on Carthan now. Is that going to be Twin Blades Varian, or are we going to see Taunt Varian? I'm thinking you kind of have to go Twin Blades here, but if it's in the Assassin slot, I'm not as certain that that will be the case. So we'll see how that kind of works out. Nemesis bringing out the Tracer. Tracer is definitely not being seen nearly as frequently in the meta as of late. So that is definitely an interesting pickup there. And to round it all out, we're going to see a Evilmar on a Cassia. I think everything is set up properly. Fantastic. Oh man, Keladorn, you're the best. I definitely appreciate it. You've shot to my #1 favorite person in the world. Congratulations. Outside of my children, of course, and my wife. But on stream, you are my #1 favorite person. Shout out in the stream who you think is going to take this next fight up. I think Piecemeal is definitely coming in with a really good race comp. They're going to have lots of strength on the objective. It's going to be pretty nasty here, but I think the Chromie factor is still something that you have to consider. On the blue side, we have Periloot, Argo Booster on the Chromie, Helio playing Stukov, Swill on the Johanna, Carthan playing Varian, and Evilmar on the Cassia. On the red side, we have Piecemeal looking for that equalizer, hoping not to get dominated here in the beginning. And that's going to be Nemesis on the Tracer, Broil Beef on the Rainer, Odd Thought on the Decker, Dark Knight playing the Diablo, and Gambit on the Artanis. So as we're seeing offlane Varian, I think for sure we're going to get Twin Blades. Twin Blades is actually a decent pick against Artanis early. The blind will definitely be a problem going in a little bit later, but at least their main damage dealers aren't super dependent on auto attacks. Like, Chromie's auto attacks aren't bad, but she's just generally going to be shelling from really far away. Cassia obviously does do a good portion of her damage through auto attacks, but really her Q, landing good Qs, especially ones that hit multiple people, is more or less where her major damage comes from, plus her ability to finish off targets with her Fend as well. And of course, Ball Lightning. Although I am a big fan of Valkyrie, and I do think that it is underpicked talent and can be really good into low mobility heroes in the backline, in particular things like Deckard and Raynor. However, oh man, Keladorn, you're the bomb, dude. Thank you so much. You're the first sub I've ever had, period. Thank you so much. #1 sub's a big deal for me. Holy crap. Thank you. Anyways, we see Swill, Helio, Evilmar, and Argo Booster doing their best to poke out the mid lane. And we see a nice engagement coming in from Diablo onto Cassia, although Chromie peels it out using her time trap. That was such a well-placed and well-timed time trap. Just stops any major aggression that can happen onto Cassia getting that slam into the wall. And yeah, that's basically nothing else happening in the bot lane, as generally happens. Wave clear is definitely in favor, though, of Periloot in this situation. Like, they definitely can push up this lane and kind of shell this front wall a little much better than... although we're going to see a bit of an engagement coming from Nemesis, but it eats just an absolute ton of damage. That just one Q plus auto attack from Chromie just does so much damage to a Tracer. Yeah, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. Anyways, we finally see Twin Blades come out from Karthon on the top lane. And he's starting the pressure here in this top lane, trying to clear it out. But Gambit definitely getting the upper hand up here. The thing is that Varian's trade ability into an Artanis is not going to be good early. He has to get his level 7 talent, which is Second Wind. And I really don't think High Kings is the right call here. I'm actually a big fan of Lion's Maw. I think it does way more when it actually comes down to it. But that swap into his own stun, kind of a misplay by Gambit's going to cost him his life, and that's going to be a kill for Periloot to start this off. So the initial pressure being put on by Piecemeal is kind of, unfortunately, stalled out by Artanis kind of stunning himself with that swap. You know, it was a good swap. It definitely pulled someone out of position, but it wasn't really on a target they could kill easy. And it threw himself into a stun, which is just unfortunate. Hate to see it. But we're still pretty even. The race is really strong for both sides. But I do think, in the end, it's still going to be faster for Periloot. Twin Blades Varian and that Chromie. I mean, Chromie really chunks that thing, and she can constantly hit those Qs on a regular basis, and I think is just an absolute monster on this map. You know, and Cassia burn overall is not that bad. Oh my god. Welcome to the subs, Valkymer. Thank you for the gifted sub, Caledorn. You're definitely going to be my all-time favorite person from now on. Thank you so much. I'll work on getting some emotes and stuff like that. I honestly wasn't expecting any subs this early. Right now, it doesn't mean anything until I get emojis and sub rewards set up. Me and my wife will work on it this weekend, and I'll hopefully get something set up so that you guys get at least a little bit of something for subbing to the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Valkymer, you're also a favorite person by association to Caledorn, so thank you so much. I appreciate it. So first objective gets about as much as first objective it tends to be. Chromie's decent siege. Cassia isn't the best, so it's kind of hard to kind of push up on it, especially with everyone there and ready to fight. Really good pull-in by Johanna. Even more getting hit by the bomb anyways, but it wasn't quite enough to finish her off, and that's going to be a 1-for-0 trade there. So 2 in kills. Tracer and Artanis being killed off in the last couple minutes. So it's going to be a slight advantage for Periloot. Yet again, they do have a half a level experience advantage here. Yeah, Datasto is no longer in it. The big threat in C West right now is probably Tickle Me Tassadar. But CCS is the team I picked to win this season, so hopefully you guys can show me off. And if you guys can beat Tickle Me Tassadar, you'll have a really good chance. And that's going to be, with that pickoff on the Diablo, you know, this Chromie is just difficult to deal with for Piecemeal. They don't have a lot of ways to really get onto it. The Tracer is kind of their ace in the hole, but she doesn't really come online until a little bit later. And Chromie just has so many tools to kind of counter that kind of dive that it's really, and look how fast they burn that down. That's insane. Varian, Chromie, Cassia is actually just ruining these objectives, but we do see a defensive spawn that's a little bit of a small rain of sunshine for the side of Piecemeal. They really got to make something happen here before 10s are picked up by Periloot, though. And they can't be dancing around because Chromie's actually getting the advantage here with the actual pull. But Dark Knight goes in. He does get the stun on. Does not get the stun. He gets the dive onto Chromie, but without the stun, he isn't able to make anything happen off of it. And the move up is coming in. Tracer is still trying to put in a little bit of pressure onto Chromie, though. We are going to see Cassia now come up from the bot lane, where she was pushing in with this camp and actually getting significant value. This bot lane is actually going down. And because of Tracer's positioning and the level 10s being picked up by Periloot, it looks like Piecemeal has no choice but to just leave. Carthen put some pressure on Dark Knight. He does manage to walk away. He is almost fully stacked on 100 souls, so at 95, he's still going to be able to stop it. Oh my god, Keldorn, you're a monster. Welcome, Wono, my teammate and buddy. Thank you for joining the sub train and watching today. And you're now a sub thanks to the best person in the world, Keldorn. If I get to 15 subs this month, I'll actually make a... I'll actually be almost 100% qualified for partner, which means I don't pay fees on any deposits. I will work on to the emotes. Again, I was not expecting subs today or at all anytime soon. So not only will I get emojis and things like that set up so that there's some sort of rewards for subs, I'll make sure that I am streaming consistently this week so that we... get this, but I'm getting distracted from the game. It's not happening the way it should be here. We're seeing the flip over by Diablo trying to peel out the Cassia. The pressure was already put on where Tracer and Artanis went down on that initial siege from the Immortal, and things are looking extremely dire for Piecemeal in this situation. But they do manage to stop the end of the game. It is still really low. Death timers are not in a position where it's too easy to go in on the core. So we're seeing the defense. Good. Finally, one of the best engagements coming on to Swell. Swell is actually super low. Tracer is chasing this down. He does dodge the Blessed Shield, and now the pressure can actually be put on. It is 13 to 11, but with Swell out of the picture, they might be able to push this in. Hyperion did go down, but unfortunately, they were able to disengage, and they just were not able to actually get the kill in there. If Tracer had just blinked back in, if he had any blinks, he might have still been able to snag that kill. It was a really good dodge with the E on the Blessed Shield. But even if he got wanged with that Blessed Shield, I didn't see anyone from Periloot in position to kill the Tracer there. And he probably still could have finished the Johanna, although now he's in a bit of trouble. We're going to see maybe an engagement coming up from Carthen. He does manage to blink yet again. He did have one more blink charge available, so he gets out. See, Gambit trying to put some pressure on here. It is still 13 to 12. But we see only 4 down here, although Varian is trying to get in position to fight this off. Gambit is going to go stand on it. We do see the blind coming in. He does take a bit of damage. We see the APOC coming in. It does land on 3 targets in the middle, but it is Artanis that drops low. Lightning Ball does hit onto everyone. Tracer's still in the backline trying to do something, but he has to blink out. He's still getting away here. Cassia trying to put a bit of damage, but it looks like he's going to be able to get himself out. Decker to drop some potions to make sure they can get fully healed up, but we are 14 to 12 into the next objective. 6 kills to nothing, and Periloot just coming out swinging this game. Just much like the last game, things looking quite dominating for the side of Periloot. First pick for scrims is something that we can discuss, but maybe I'll allow that to be the case. I'm not the one in charge of scrims on logical decisions, so unfortunately, it might not turn into anything. Well, lots of movies are shot in Vancouver too as well. Keep that in mind, guys. So the objective does solidly go to the side of Periloot. They are already starting their initial siege onto this keep. Royal Beef gets chunked by Chromie, getting hit by all 3 Qs. He has to pop his E to heal it back up, which he does manage to do with some potions there. Nemesis in the back lane trying to get something done, but he actually gets picked off and he goes down. So Tracer is dead. The initiation now coming out. That is a 4-man APOC, but there's just no follow-up damage. Gambit gets thrown back out. He goes in with the Q, trying to get some extra damage, but it looks like he's going to get to swap himself into death. And that's going to be 2 for nothing. Dark Knight and Broil Beef just desperately trying to push off this team. They are super low, so they might just be able to do it, but Odd Thought gets chunked really low. Dark Knight isn't able to do anything. There's no damage going on the Immortal, and the Koras are down to half health, so I think this is going to be all she wrote. Odd Thought does go down, and that's going to be the end of the game there. Periloot picking up the 2-0 victory on Battlefield of Eternity. There's the end of the match screen for you guys. Chromie definitely topping the charts. There just wasn't anything that they could do. I 100% swear I'll have it done this weekend. Thank you so much. But anyways, back to the game, which I've been heavily distracted by by Kellator being the coolest guy ever and giving me such a... Oh, man. No, Valkymer, I'm also Canadian. I live in Calgary, or just south of Calgary, Alberta. Ziltoid, you should look up, is Ziltoid the Omniscient. It's actually a thing. By a very talented musician from also Vancouver, Canada. Those are the talents for the stream, and I will reach out to somebody to see if we can get an interview. Oh, that's incorrect.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thank you. Felt good.
So Periloot making their triumphant return to C-West Division. Going up against Piecemeal, a relatively new team that was just kind of formed into this. How are you feeling about your first match?
Feeling quite well. Yeah, we are playing with LF Marv. Is our normal toasty was away at a concert today, but it worked out quite well.
So, game number 1, were you expecting the Cho'Gall? Or did it just kind of happen and you were just like, we're all right?
So we were actually planning on doing Cho'Gall because Braxis is a new addition to the map pool. So we were kind of just like, we haven't played Braxis in so long, and we are just like, you know what? Cho'Gall can work here, and sort of memeing, but we're just like, okay, we're gonna do solo lane first pick and then Oriole X second pick, so then we can 4-5 do a Cho'Gall. And then they take it out from under us. And,
do you think that they knew you were going that way, or do you think it was just coincidence?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think their first banning of Greymane, I think, is fairly indicative of Cho'Gall happening. Though I guess him being buffed in the recent patch makes that less of a sure thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think as the game was wrapping up, I kind of remember me saying in Cobb something like, you know what? I'm glad they got the Cho'Gall and not.
Well, you played well into it anyways. I mean, Ariel Gul'dan is a pretty scary thing to have on that map anyways. It just basically means you just have infinite sustain in the bot lane. And also denying the Ariel away from them, and they kind of paired it with an Anna, which I've always been a little bit critical of whenever that happens, just because Anna has a hard time keeping up with the healing for Cho'Gall.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Especially if you don't have another frontliner to kind of share the amount of damage coming in from that. It always tends to be a little bit iffy in that situation. So it definitely did seem to go in your guys' favor. I felt like it was more of an outdraft than it was outplayed in the first game until I got to the second game. And you guys were just on fire. In game number 2, the Chromie coming out, I've been kind of saying that Chromie's been sneaky good on the map, even prior to her changes. Since post changes, it should be basically her best map.
Yeah, definitely agree. I enjoyed playing Chromie like 3 reworks ago or whatever it was, back when she could stack her Q infinitely. And then there was definitely a rework where I didn't like Chromie, but now she's back to being fun. And especially on BOE, she's just absurd with how much damage she can dump on.
Yeah, it definitely shows. When you can chunk half the health of the Rainer in the backline, hitting him with 3 Qs is pretty nasty as it is. And it's a lot of pressure to be putting in. Yeah, he has the self-healing to go out, but he can't do that forever. He takes another 3 shots, and he's down to half health and has no way to recover it. So, you know, that's the whole thing about the Chromie damage on that map is that you can, more often than not, get it onto the targets you need to, and it just gets oppressive. But yeah, again, game number 2 looked super clean, and so I think overall, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you guys did outclass Piecemeal, not just in the drafting, but in outplaying as well. Coming into this match, were you guys aware of this team's relative strength level? Did you have a clue of where they were being at, or were you kind of going into this bit blind?
No, we were quite blind. I delegate all of the scouting stuff to Swill, and he didn't come through for me this week, so I was completely...
Is that just because he didn't have enough...
Yeah, I think not having the background data. Like, I definitely... we definitely played with a couple of these players last season, but I wasn't aware of that until I actually started talking about it with our team in the beginning of draft 2. I'm just like, oh, right, we have played with these guys.
Fantastic. Anyways, going forward, how are you guys feeling about your chances in the rest of the season? I know you guys had a kind of a bit of an upset run, at least into the semifinals last season in playoffs, taking out Dive Hard, who was actually bumped to the next division while you guys were not. So what's your confidence level going into future matches as we kind of get on in the season?
I mean, I think for our last season, we had a pretty even record, but we definitely felt like we were competitive in pretty much all of the matches that we played. I think we started off with a rocky start, and we're kind of getting some of our team synergy and some of just practicing enough to play at the level that we know that we can. And then towards the end of the season, we were definitely feeling a lot better than we did at the beginning. So I feel like that's how we were doing at least reasonably well in playoffs. And I think this season, I guess we're marginally out of practice and that we haven't been playing every week in the off season, but we're hoping to get back into it and getting some practice games in, and just playing our matches for the week certainly helps us get a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, I mean, fantastic matchup. I kind of want to get to the rest of what's going on today because there's just so much happening in NGS in day number 1. But it was a pleasure to watch a match. I know I casted a few of your guys' match last season. In fact, I casted the first real matchup between you and Dive Hard, and then in the playoffs I got to do it again, which was just so much fun. And and then seeing you guys actually get that upset was fantastic. And I'm really expecting good things from you guys in the future, so keep it up. I do think there's quite a bit of competition in C West, right? Just kind of like it was last season. But I really do think that you guys, given the way things have shaked out, should probably be one of those top runners. So keep it up.
Hope so.
Keep the practice up, and I think you guys will do well. So congratulations on the win. A 2-0 domination to start off the season is a great feeling. I know we did the same thing last night, and going forward is you just got to keep that momentum up, and you guys will fly through this season, and it'll be over before you know it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited.
Any shout outs before we go?
I'll just shout out to my team, the ragtag band of friends, sticking it together, playing HOTS through thick and thin. And I'll say Swill's starting up a company, Periloot, which is why we're named this. And he's selling keyboard add-ons, mainly designed for FPS gaming. So I think he's done some production. We met up at DreamHack last year to kind of just chill out and scout out the market, and we're planning to head to DreamHack Montreal this fall and setting up a booth there. So look up periloot.com and see if you like what you see.
Fantastic. Thank you for being on it. It was a pleasure to cast, guys, and I'll catch you later on in the season.
Yeah, sure thing. Nice talking.
You too. Have a good night.
You too.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight. A huge thank you to Kelladorn. Again, the first subs I've ever had, and then I got a bunch more, and I appreciate every bit of it. It all helps me here, and we'll work on getting some emotes set up so that you get a bit of sub rewards, some things in place, as again I wasn't prepared for it. So we're gonna fix that right away, and just stay tuned. I will be casting all season. You'll see me all season, getting every cast in that I can. If you enjoy it, please keep coming back. NGS is a fantastic community. I love the opportunity they give me here to be able to come in and do this. I love Heroes of the Storm. It's my favorite game to play, as well as to cast. There's my wife waving, also saying thank you. And we're just gonna keep trucking forward. I'm also gonna be doing my own bit of variety streaming. Catch me when I do Twitch Sings, my own Storm League climbs, any of the other random stuff that you might see me play on the channel. The frequency will be here, so your subs won't be wasted. There will be content, and there will be and we will try to get some emoji rewards for those people that do it. But you guys are the best. I really, really, really appreciate it, and I can't really thank you enough. So I'm gonna try to host somebody, and I did this yesterday a little bit late, but I'm gonna see who's available. And I will see who I can host. I might just raid, actually. I think Jason Hots is doing Almost Legends Obsidian, so we're gonna go host Jason, or we're gonna raid Jason. So stay tuned, hang out with Jason. He's a wonderful contributor to the community, and a fantastic caster, all in the same. Definitely go check him out. See you guys.